Yeah, no need to use your turn signal or anything. This is the maddest I've ever been.
Alright everybody, you know what time it is. I am currently on 12 Vicodin, and we're looking at all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I love this series. I absolutely love this series. From the time I was like around 12 years old, I've been watching these on an almost annual basis. I love these movies with all my heart. Anyway, let's get into it. Nightmare on Elm Street 1, we all know, is a classic. Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the most engaging, interesting horror movies of all time. I think it was based off like a news report. Somewhere in Africa was having issues of people dying in their sleep or something like that. I could be making that up. Editor, if you could please verify that. Thank you. This is kind of the prototype for where everything else falls into, but it's a really great place to start. You have the excellent character of Nancy. Fantastic performance by Robert Englund. The scene that always comes to my mind out of this movie, aside from that one where Johnny Depp is sucked into the ceiling and it's like an eruption of blood, the one that comes to my mind is his like huge wide arm shot where he's like walking down a street when he's looking, he wants to give you a big old hug. You know, he's good old Freddy Krueger trying to be all happy Chungus Kawaii Desune. It's not my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie, but there's no doubting, right? Like, there's so much iconic stuff here. There's so much here that is visually interesting. I think I want to put it in I'll put it an S. I'll put an S, honestly, because if I'm rewatching the Nightmare on Elm Street movies and I had to choose between some, I know which ones I want to watch.
Boss, the mom's ashes are everywhere.
And now here's the thing with Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Because the first one, great idea. Then we decided to franchise that shit. So what happens afterward is hit or miss. I'll say hit or miss. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is one of the most fascinating, not only movies in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but like horror, maybe movies in general, because this movie is recognized as being accidentally gay. You watch it and you're like, what's going on here?
Something is trying to get inside my body.
Yeah, and she's female and she's waiting for you in the cabana. And you want to sleep with me.
If you look at it from the lens of like modern day, there are some interesting thematics going on here, but I don't know if it really fits in the context of a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I don't know. I'm not the right person to tackle this subject, but nonetheless, like, it's still a fascinating movie, and I still enjoy watching it. I mean, we have a documentary called Scream, Queens. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, what was going on aside from the movie is the more interesting part about the movie. I'll put it in a good, do I want to put it in like B? I'll put it in B, I think. I think it's still a fun one. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This one is so much fun. It's so bonkers. It knows exactly what it is. It is not apologetic about what it is. The most like insane kill. Is this where if I recall well, this is prime time, bitch. This is
Prime time, bitch.
and it gets her head smashed into a TV after Freddy grows arms out of the TV. It's like the coolest thing. As somebody that did some vague instances of filmmaking here and there and did some studying in filmmaking, I don't know how they pulled those practical effects off and managed to shoot those, because those seem like nearly impossible tasks. I don't know how they did it. My first Nightmare on Elm Street movie was 3, and I watched it on Sci-Fi, I believe. And the one thing that stuck out to me is like the most horrific imagery I had ever seen is the scene of Freddy like dangling that one girl like a puppet with her veins and shit, or like her tendons over like the I think it was a hospital, right? And oh my god, that is like insane visuals. Great stuff. It's going right in S, buddy. It's going right in S. I just had to take a quick moment to refresh my mind on Nightmare on Elm Street 4, because I couldn't remember exactly what happened there, and then it hit me like a ton of bricks, right? Because in the Nightmare on Elm Street 3 ending, they threw holy water on him or something, and then he just started going, ah, ah, and then he like melted away into his grave or something like that. And the way he is resurrected in this movie is that a dog pisses fire onto his grave and he is reborn. You can't make this shit up. New Line Cinema was just like, man, we got Jason over here making loads of money. They said he was gonna die, and he came back. Why not bring back our guy? Let's bring back our guy. He's not really dead. This is also where the movies get really, really weird. They go whole hog on these kills and start losing sight of the story side of things, which is, in the side of fun, okay. If I'm having a drink and I am watching these movies, I'm having a blast, quite frankly. On the other side, it is kind of dog shit. Still though, kills are very fun and the practical effects going on here are insane. There's like 2-3 kills that I remember from this movie. The one being the waterbed one, where he's sucked into his own waterbed and like drowned, I believe. Is that right? Yeah, he's drowned in there, which is a really cool visual. And then because you have to have the classic Freddy quip, you gotta have
Wanna suck the face?
No.
and the last one took me a second to remember, but the last one is insane. At the beginning, when this girl is working out, she's like losing her limbs, and then like new limbs start popping out of her. And like, what the hell is going on here? What is she turning into? And then she just becomes a cockroach. She just becomes this massive, grotesque cockroach that I'm sure if I showed on screen would probably get me demonetized. As a matter of fact, Orino, thank you ahead of time for all the censorship you're probably doing. I know it's probably a lot of work.
You're welcome.
Overall, Dream Master is a fun one. I don't know if it's necessarily like a good one. I'd probably put it in like, some in the ballpark of B is what I'm thinking of right now. Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is fascinating. I feel like it's just worse. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, if I recall well. There's 2 things I remember about this movie. Well, 3, okay. So 1, that motorcycle kill is insane. The actual visual of like all these mechanical parts coming into it's like Tetsuo the Iron Man like shit. You know what it's like actually? For you poor souls that have seen the Japanese body horror movie called Meatball Machine, it's a weird movie and it's really strange, it's really grotesque. It's like that kill is like a portion of that movie. The 3rd kill I remember perfectly. It is big, I think, wrestler man Freddy. It is so stupid. They got a paper dude, they cut up into shreds, and he's like losing color, and he's just like, oh, that's his blood, I get it. And it's like, it's really embarrassing. I feel like I should be watching this as an adult. I feel like this is something made for children. Oh, wait! Oh! I remember the middle one. I remember the middle one now. This kill is... I love that he cannot end a sentence without bitch. It's him feeding her till her cheeks are stuffed. The last thing I remember about this movie, actually. I'm pretty sure this is this Dream Child. I need to look it up before I talk out of my ass. Oh no! Okay, this is the one where I think baby Freddy gets sucked back up into her mother's cooch, and she's like, I have to go away so the baby don't come out, as it's like clawing through her like stomach or something like that. Dream Child is... I think it's our first C. It's on the weaker side. I think they progressively do get weaker after 3. And speaking of getting weaker, is going up and down the stairs a little harder than it used to be? Then this video's sponsor, Zentrax, might be for you. Zentrax may cause depression, itchiness, dog smell, extremely funny farts, wrong opinions, sudden bouts of crying due to the inherent beauty of human life, and increased difficulty going up and down the stairs. We're now on to Freddy's... Excuse me. We're now on to Freddy's... This one is... It's a lot. This is the 3D one. I remember that. This is Now You're Playing with Power.
Now I'm playing with power.
Okay, looking at the kills, that's a cool one. The hearing aid one where she gets like a tremendous ear infection. That's a cool one. And then you got Freddy's death, which is he's blown up by a pipe bomb. He explodes into a bunch of sperm Freddys in 3D. Yeah, after like all these holy weapons and all this shit. His true weakness is pipe bomb. Yeah, no, this one's not good. It's F. It's honestly, it's really bad. It's not even that entertaining. It's more like, it grabs your curiosity because you're just like, what the hell is going on? This is so embarrassing. You feel like less of a person for having watched it. I still love it. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This one's essentially just like the spiritual precursor to Scream, where it starts getting to the more like cynicism of the slasher genre and cynicism of horror, and reinventing the character of Freddy Krueger to be like a demon born by the fear or something like that. Not to mention that it's like breaking the third wall by having the actors actually play themselves. Oh baby, Freddy's trying to get on me right now. I think it's one of those that I can go with or without watching because it's not like as fun, but it is a very interesting movie. I'd probably put it also in B, I think. I want to say most people would probably put it around there. And last, but definitely least actually, is the remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is my second introduction into this franchise. I watched Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I'm like, oh, I should watch something newer, because that's a good idea. This movie is bad. It sucks all of the character out of Freddy Krueger.
I'm really scared the food might be too spicy for me.
I think he maybe says bitch once.
Don't say the B word at PF Chang's.
Characters are boring. Freddy Krueger is lame.
Can you believe our server has a tattoo? If we would have just gone to Chili's, like I said, then this wouldn't have happened.
I'd honestly put Freddy's Dead in D just so I can put this one in F. I really can't with it. It's really not good. And yeah, there you have it. I'll be honest with you, I was gonna put on that glove for this thing, but then again, I tried recording with it with my hand on, I almost poked my eyes out like 2 different times. I wore that when I was like 16 for Halloween at school, and everyone looked at me like I was a freak because I did my own makeup. Anyway, let's end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all probably with another tier list for a slasher movie.
I really need some help. I spilled mom's ashes all over the ground. Now the dog is eating
Bye.
mom's ashes.